guys, back to Torrance Ford Presents. We thought we'd mix some things up this time around and bring in, a guest panel, guest speaker sort of scenario for you. Always trying to make agents educated and better in their craft of the world of real estate. So today I wanted us to get acquainted with one of my top lenders, Mike Gambill. He's Senior Vice President of Southeast Mortgage, and been doing big things for the mortgage industry and for the city of Atlanta, in addition to with their expansion that we'll get into a little bit later. Hey, Mike, welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Torrance.
Hey, you're welcome. One of the tips that we wanted to talk to you about and growing your real estate business and pushing your real estate business is jumping into the opportunity of working with a lender such as Southeast Mortgage that operates in multiple cities and states. Mike, where are you guys located at the moment?
We are licensed actually throughout the Southeast, Southeast Mortgage. So Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, and of course, Georgia.
That's right. And in addition to working with a lender that is a little bit outside of your market, some benefits that we thought we would share today would be discussing the second home market. Generally, as an agent, after you sell one home to an individual or buyer, they're usually stationary or in that same house for 7 to 10 years is the Atlanta industry. Well, one thing you could do is most folks are looking to get into either the gig economy or the real estate industry by way of investment property to start bringing in some cash flow. And I was talking to Mike, and we wanted to expand upon the second home market. So Mike, tell us what buyers can do, or what we as agents can coach our buyers on with getting into the second home market.
All right. Well, just me primarily. I run Alabama, Florida Panhandle, and inside Atlanta. Right. So I have offices around there. Actually have a second home on Pensacola Beach, where my wife actually lives full time. So if you want to call that a second home,
I'm jealous of him, y'all, with this, but
it's not uncommon for a lot of people that I see to do what I'm currently doing right. With my commute back and forth between Atlanta.
Right.
If you want to buy a second home, 10% down is a general rule of thumb.
That's better than 20%.
Better than 20%,
right.
And there's no hits on the rate or anything like that. It's just like buying a primary residence, no adjustments.
That's great.
Yeah.
So no hard money rates, no 14% or 12% interest rates, traditional rates for your clients.
And there's really, as long as the second home purchase makes sense, all right? They used to in the old days, there were rules that you had to be 45 miles out or you had to occupy it a certain amount of time. That's not true anymore.
Good.
All right. You can live actually in Sandy Springs and buy a condo or something downtown. If you have a kid going to Georgia Tech or to you mentioned one of the
Woodward
Academy or something,
yes.
You could do that because it eases your commute. If you're a big Atlanta United fan,
that's right,
a sports fan, and you've got a house, over again, you live in McDonough or something. I tell you what, we'll put the Atlanta Braves in there for example. When they went over to Cobb, that traffic on 285 to get over from the east side was an absolute nightmare.
It was.
You could buy something over there and be able to handle that commute and have that during the weekend.
Are there rules as to how long they have to stay in the house or number of days they have to live in the house?
No, you just have to be able to occupy it throughout the year, meaning that the property that you buy cannot have any rental restrictions.
That's right.
On occupancy.
Okay.
On when you can occupy it. As long as you can occupy it, you're okay.
You're okay, good. And with the Airbnb and world just opening back up amidst the pandemic that we were under recently and still are under, this is still a great option as folks are not necessarily flying as much, but they're willing to drive. I know my family, we just got back from Panama City Beach and we noticed that the governor opened back up and they've been very, very busy, and it's been a great income producer for those investors or owners.
Yeah, well, before we started this, I mentioned to you I was just watching the Airbnb CEO on CNBC,
right,
talking about this aspect of the consumer now, to where they're going to areas that are drivable, and instead of renting for a week, they may be now renting for 2-3 weeks or for a month, because they're able to work remotely, and now they're taking the full trip because they're not taking these multiple trips throughout the year to go to Disney World, to go to just wherever. They're going to take the month.
They
and
can
work
stay for 30 days, work from home, and have quality of life of enjoying a great place and still getting work done.
So as an agent, you have your connection with your previous client who bought the primary. Now they're ready to buy the second home.
That's right.
And that person who's buying the second home can understand now that, hey, I don't have to be there all the time. I can take advantage of this Airbnb, help me out on my note when we're not there.
That's right.
And rent it out through these portions of the year.
That's right. Well, you guys, Southeast Mortgage has been great. I've used them for well over 10 years in the Atlanta market. They hold true on their word. They close on time. And they're really good at reading tax returns for some of those self-employed buyers that you may have. They've worked magic for some of our clients. So definitely give them a consideration for that. Mike, another thing I wanted to talk about is our tips and tricks that you're seeing other agents maybe use out in the industry right now. I know we previously have talked about escalation clauses, or we've talked about agents maybe putting that they're willing to close 30 days from binding because negotiation may take 3 to 4 days. Are you seeing any tips on a contract at the moment?
Not really. I mean, besides the ones going into going in as a conventional loan, and maybe the consumer decides to do an FHA loan, you do the addendum a little bit later. In reality, is it shouldn't scare the seller if someone's doing an FHA over conventional, or if it gets switched. It may just be in the best interest for that particular buyer. Because of the situation that the current market is in, there's a lot of fluctuation in rates, whether it be conventional rates, has to do with credit score, and so forth. So it may be in the consumer's best interest to do an FHA loan, and it's still a strong loan. COVID guidelines have changed a little bit, and I was mentioned before, it's a little harder on conventional loans than it is on FHA at the moment. Everything's just kind of just dictated by the market. And as a lender, you stay on top of that. So obviously, we're all in it together.
What about tricks on lower not due diligence period, but lower financing contingency days? Are there things that you guys are doing up front now to protect the agent to go out and shop with confidence?
All right, so here's actually, it's an interesting point. Appraisals. Okay, we manage our own appraisal network. So therefore, we have much better turnaround times. With this whole COVID thing, appraisal times have been pushed out substantially. And if you're outsourcing the appraisals, it may take somebody 10, 14 days to get that back. And if you're doing a short contingency, you're going to miss that. The finance is the same thing. I mean, in general, everybody knows with the finance contingency, you're not going to have the full approval by that period of time. You just need to have the loan in a comfortable position. Just be aware that all agents need to understand this. Because of the new COVID rules, lenders were forced to do multiple verifications of employment. And this is throughout the process. When I say throughout the process,
so there are a total of 3. I think there are more than 3.
There can be more than 3.
You guys are sneaky.
Yeah, we're sneaky. I mean, we could do it. It might be day of. You might be day of closing, and we're calling in and checking. But we are forced to do that by the COVID rules that Fannie and Freddie are putting out there. Same thing with fraud guards. Believe it or not, there has been some fraud creeping back into the industry. There are ways for us to check to see if you have multiple applications out there, and a lot of times that check gets done again. It's done early at the beginning of the process, middle, and at the end. And we have had instances where we've caught some people who have multiple applications out there.
Oh my gosh. So one other thing I wanted to talk about with you is, so with us being amidst COVID, and people's job may have taking a cut, or they may be under contract and they may receive a 30% pay cut. One of the tips that you were suggesting was maybe going into a lease purchase scenario until that paid check goes back to 100%. Can you elaborate on that? How we as agents can keep deals together?
Yeah, we've seen that happen recently because of certain job types.
Right.
Now you can qualify on your your furlough wages. Then you're all right. If you got to wait to get into it, on the lease purchase may be the way to go. But you don't want to do it for, okay, I'm renting it and I'm stuck in this year contract and there's no way to get out, or you got to buy the rest of it out.
Right.
You want to make sure there's a 30-day out, so you might be a month-to-month situation. If you do a lease purchase, come up with an agreement with the owner of the home, seller, to have some of that money go back toward your down payment.
Right.
And you can accrue that. Make sure you're not paying by Venmo and all that. That might make it a little more difficult.
But but that's a great point, because we are seeing sellers are selling their home really quickly, but they're not necessarily knowing where they are wanting to go. So it is a great advice to, if they can't find their dream home or the replacement home, that maybe they should go into a month-to-month lease scenario versus doing a 12-month lease, because you just never know where that needle in a haystack, where that next dream home will be, because the inventory levels have tightened up. So that is great advice.
Yeah, it gives you the flexibility to there's my home. All right, here we go. I'm in and out.
That's it. We'll love it. Well, thank you, Mike, for your time. Any other final thoughts from Southeast Mortgage and what you guys can offer agents in Atlanta?
Yeah, so we'll revisit the second home thing real quick. If you're buying a condo, everybody, it is a little different on a different world than buying a single family residence. So you want to use a lender that knows their way around that aspect of things, because there's certain things called limited reviews and full reviews, and beachside property, these condominiums have different restrictions to them.
Right.
So it could require 10% down, it could be 25% down. So just be aware and use somebody that knows what they're doing and steers you right, because you don't want to get a day before closing and somebody says, oh, we can't finance this because it's a condo-tel.
How quickly can you tell us, or how quickly should a lender be able to tell the agent whether that particular property is 5, 10, or 15?
Well, with
percent
us, it will be before your finance contingency.
That's right.
Again, use someone you trust.
That's right.
That can get it done because after the finance contingency, it doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
I mean, it can come back and not be eligible, and
you're liable.
You're still up on that. Yeah,
right.
Exactly. So using a lender that can get it done during that period of time is of utmost importance.
Well, that's why we love Southeast Mortgage, guys. Well, here you have it. Mike Gambill, Senior Vice President at Southeast Mortgage. See you next time.
All right, thanks.